Welcome, viewers, back to BuelnaNews. This is your host, Gabriel Buelna. We haven't seen each other in a few months, and we've got a new topic today. We're talking about food, Mexican Chicano food, and we've got a popular Chicano foodie. We've got Jimmy Saucez. Jimmy, welcome, Jimmy. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it. This is really good. Got my phone ringing right here, right now. So let me go to. I still have a house phone, but I'm doing great. Everything's awesome here. I'm here at home, and yeah, everything's awesome.
No problem. Thank you again for joining us. And those of you who are watching us, press the subscribe button back down below. Join BuelnaNews. Press the little thumbs up thing. We want all the support. But Jimmy, can you tell us where are you filming this episode from?
Actually, I'm here at home in my beautiful city, actually beautiful community of City Terrace, California. Right on the outskirts of Boyle Heights, Alhambra, all that good stuff. I'm in the middle of everything here. So, right. City Terrace, yes, sir.
Exactly. And you can find Jimmy on his TikTok handle at Jimmy Saucez, and then the little underscore. We've got it down below right here. Then on Instagram, it's and then Jimmy Saucez. And visit Jimmy on TikTok and Instagram, and follow Jimmy. On BuelnaNews. We want everyone to follow each other. Hopefully, we get each other some. My focus is you today. But Jimmy,
thank you.
Oh no, my pleasure. So let the viewers know who you are. I mean, but before you tell us that, I've got that you won the 2015 Jackson, Mississippi State Fair Award. You've got a 2016 Miami Youth Fair Award. The Boyle Heights Taco Local Fest, you won an award there. Then you've also been featured on the cooking channel's Carnival Eats, which I'm a little jealous of. But tell us a bit about your experience, and then we'll get into your TikTok and Chicano food.
Well, it goes back to, I want to say 2010, 2009. We started doing this, my wife and I. And we started with the kids. Our daughter played softball. I've got a passion for cooking. Decided we're going to do tacos for the team, and bring a little excitement to the team as far as having food after a game, and during some of the playoffs and stuff. So we had food for them, and I remember some of the girls saying, "Oh man, we've never had a team like this before. You guys are awesome," and that made me feel really good. So we started doing more and more, and then the word got out that I was doing this. I started getting phone calls from family. And I was like, I'll do a catering job here and there. Just don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And just note that I had one salsa, only one salsa. And so word got out from family and two friends about doing events. And I remember my first event, I told the guy no. I said, no, we don't do that. He's like, come on. And I was like, you know what? Okay, we'll do it. And that was it. And we started catering events here and there, which we did quite a few celebrities. We've done the Killers at the Staples Center, and we did a lot of big events, and I was super proud of our achievements and our accomplishments. We got a chance to move to Miami, and which we did. We ended up going to Miami for a couple years. We ended up getting a food truck, and we traveled. We traveled to Jackson, Mississippi. We did the 2015 Jackson, Mississippi State Fair, and we were awarded the best in taste. We beat out barbecues, fish fries, and a bunch of events there. I mean, not a bunch of events, a bunch of restaurants and food trucks. And, winning my award that day, I cried. I couldn't believe that I had just won this award. And we were the first Mexican food at the State Fair's history. And that was a big accomplishment. And yeah, we won first place. We went back to Miami. We won Best in Taste in Miami Youth Fair, which is a huge fair. 17, we came back to Los Angeles. And we joined the Taco Loco Festival, and we won first place there. Yeah, and also the cooking channel. That was a show that I've been watching for quite a while already. I really like the host. His name's Noah Cap. I got an email from them one day saying that they wanted us on the show, and I was like, really? Wow, okay. I thought it was a joke at first. Maybe somebody was messing with us, and sure enough, they came down, and we did the show, and it was just an amazing experience. And we did it for a number of years.
So food is in your veins.
It's in my blood. Yes, it is. It really is. I get excited when my daughter, she's sitting here right now. She's not even paying attention, but when she asks me to cook her something, or my wife, and I get excited. I look in the refrigerator. I'm like, what can I make? And I'll pull something out, and I'll be like, damn, I'll make something from the top of my head. Just come out with something really good. And this is something I love to do. Yeah, it's in my veins. It's in my blood.
So tell us, when folks see you on TikTok, and what's your intro? What do you, when you intro? What do you do? What is that?
It's funny, but I used to come up before and just be like, "Hey guys," and I needed something more happening, more spicier, and something just more. So I decided it went on back and forth, and I decided to come out with the my intro was I do this hand gesture, and I just say, "Hey," I come out and I go, "Yo yo yo, what it do, party people? Jimmy Sauce is coming at you from City Terrace, California. I'm here. I'm BuelnaNews." Doing a podcast or doing just I'll say something like that, and that's something that comes out, it just comes out naturally, and it's come to my attention. There's a gentleman in New York that has a TikTok, Instagram channel, and he's saying, "Yo, party people," and I was like, okay, somebody's taking my taking my handle, taking my slogan, but it's all in good fun. I mean, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and share it, share the funness. Let's just share it. That's
So,
what I think about it.
so one of the reasons I wanted to interview is I've gone through all your TikToks and your Instagram on my spare time, and I've noticed that you have an ideology to you.
Yes.
You're not just about food. You're trying, you advocate for street vendors.
Yes,
You're
sir.
looking out for people's security. And there is a community focus to you. And can you tell me, before we get into kind of like the TikTok and, but tell me what you're trying to do through your TikTok in terms of community.
It started off with the pandemic. I noticed that, a lot of people weren't visiting these food trucks, and a lot of these small businesses were hurting, and nobody was going to them. Normally you go down Atlantic Boulevard towards Whittier. There's a ton of food trucks out there, and they've got lines, and they're doing okay. They're doing well. They're feeding their families, and they're also employing employees, and those employees are taking care of their families. So we noticed that there wasn't people out there supporting these food trucks. I never thought about doing any influencing or doing anything like that. So I told my wife one day, excuse me, let's go out there and let's start recording, and maybe we can bring some awareness to some of these food trucks and let them know what they're all about and what they do, what they have to offer. So we started doing that, and it just kind of one thing led to another, and we started supporting these local businesses, and they were getting back to us and saying, hey, your videos are doing really, really great. They're bringing a lot of business. And at first I was like, really? Like I didn't. I'm not going to say I didn't believe it, but I was like, no, they're just videos. I didn't know how powerful that social media was as far as these videos went. So it got to a point where it got really just what's the word I want to use? It just got. They started calling us and messaging us, and it just got to something where it really started from. It started from the heart. Me and my wife, we got huge hearts, and we love to help others. So it got to a point where we were doing this left and right. It just happened to. We somehow it went from doing videos to helping out people to advocating, being advocates for some of these vendors that were getting attacked on the street. So now when I'll just kind of skip that real quick, but I really care about these people, and I really speak from the heart when I speak about their food and when I speak about who they are with the chef, the food trucks and stuff. I really speak from the heart. I mean, I do have a passion for what I do, and it's all about community. It's all about unity, bringing unity together and showing people what's out there and what these people have to offer. And we built a bridge. We really have built a bridge between the vendors and us and other people. We showcased our videos, and people from Anaheim, from San Diego, from San Francisco have come to Los Angeles to some of these specific food trucks that we have featured on our videos. And it's all about bringing community together, unity. I call it unity in the community. So that's where it just leads down to.
And how long have you been on TikTok?
TikTok, I want to say about maybe a year and a half. I want to say, not long.
And has it changed your family's life?
Yes, it has. It really has. You know, it gets to a point where we go somewhere and you know, we go to a restaurant. I'm not going to give the name, but we go to a restaurant, local restaurant. We sit down and they don't charge us. And I said, no. What do you mean? No, no. We're here to pay. We're here to support you. And they're like, no, no. We love what you guys do, and dinner's on us. And I'm like, okay, you sure? I'm like, we'll take care of the waiter then, I guess. You know. So it's got to a point where we're going somewhere, people recognize us and call out my wife's name. Of course, I'm going to give her a shout out, Chicano Foodie girl. She's you can also follow her too.
And we're putting her image up there as well.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
Yeah, so
Thank
we're gonna do that.
I'm kind of jealous. She's got a better logo than I do. So
it is a good logo.
Is it a great logo? It's a great logo. Yes.
So we're scheduling Danny Trejo to be on this show, and you
Nice.
know, we in terms of his book, Danny Trejo in his book Trejo's Tacos, right? He states
Yes.
this. He
Yes.
says it would have made my life a lot easier, but back then it would have been it wouldn't have been possible. There wasn't a modern Mexican food revolution happening across the country. There was no such thing as vegan cauliflower tacos. Now there are hundreds of Mexican cookbooks that claim to offer the most authentic, regional, chefy, easy technique-driven food. My book is one of those things. It's a crazy mashup of the sometimes healthy Mexican adjacent, veganish, always delicious food that's happening. So with regard to, I grew up in LA, you grew up in LA, and
Yes,
you know, we always had taco trucks, and you've always had a Mexican population, as Mexicans have always been here, right?
yes, of course, yes.
But what are we seeing? This isn't, a lot of it is you do have some traditional Mexican food from people's hometowns, but I've seen a development of more Chicano food. Is it Mexican food that we're seeing that's getting popular? Is it a fusion Chicano food with different ingredients? What are you seeing? What are you seeing out there?
You know what Daddy Trejo said about that? It's true. You know, back in the days, there wasn't a lot of this. There was a lot of traditional Mexican food trucks out there, as far as like taco trucks, you know, burritos, quesadillas, and whatnot. Now it's transformed into this whole fusion. You've got Asian / Mexican. You've got, you know, Indian / Mexican. You've got a whole bunch of different fusion trucks. But I think it boils down to the food trucks. You know, that a lot of people want to take credit for. Hey, we started the fusion truck, the food truck out there. The food truck has been around since the 60s, probably the 50s, you know, and they weren't as popular as they are today. And the new food trucks of today, yeah, they're fusion. You know, I had my business was, me and my wife's business was Up and Smoke Tacos. And my slogan was Chicano Fusion. And people would say, what do you mean by Chicano Fusion? Well, I took a little bit of East LA, I took a little bit of Mexico, and I mashed them together, and I created something different. And we went on that. And a lot of times, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing again. I'm sorry, the phone's ringing here. But anyways, I still got a house phone, as you guys can tell.
No, hey, we're all in each other's homes. That's the way our Chicano community rolls.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that we say that, but I still have the same number we've had since the early 80s. I mean, so and it still rings, as you can tell. So a lot of people don't have their house phones. But I apologize for that. I want to go ahead and just say that the fusion has become more and more just diverse, crazy, unique, and stuff. But I think the food truck population has been here for as long as I can remember. Like I had mentioned to a friend of mine recently, I said, hey, you know, as a young man growing up, I would go to this food truck and have just a simple tacos. You know, now, you know, as a young man growing up, these were the best tacos I've had. They were just cilantro and onion and a little bit of salsita with a little lime in it. Carne asada, pollo al pastor, whatever you wanted. And I grew up eating those. And literally, I grew up eating tacos. I'm the youngest of 6. So guess what? When my father and mother took us out to eat, we ate tacos. Why? Because it was cheap. You know, they're not going to take us to a 5-star restaurant, you know, 6 of us, actually say 8 of us. So we went to the food trucks and I ate, you know, but I've seen how the evolution of the food truck has gone now to where we're at now. I mean, yeah, it's a whole fusion and stuff. And, you know, there's a different parts of the world where people are doing different stuff, you know, England, Japan, tacos are very popular. But yeah, I think we have a Chicano fusion here. I really do. I think that's what I call it. It's a Chicano fusion.
And what's interesting is that some people are going to say it's Latino, it's Hispanic, and what I'm saying it's Chicano. It's an immersion. It's an evolution from the Mexican, taking from different Mexican states
Right.
and taking from the ingredients that are here to Chicano. But Danny Trejo, and I'm kind of picking on that and Danny, and we're going to get to another author. He also says, over the years, we've learned a lot of things about cooking a new kind of LA Mexican food. He says a new kind of LA Mexican food, and we want to share it with you, right? And that's where I'm thinking, because I teach in the Chicano Studies department at Cal State Northridge,
Cool.
right?
All right. Awesome. Yes.
And I'm a political scientist as well. And I've noticed in my discipline, in our discipline, Chicano Studies, the culinary arts hasn't been a focus where Chicano food is exploding. And what's interesting is that Trejo, he points to Okie Dog, hot dog in a burrito. Then he says 10 years ago, a Korean American dude named Choi started selling Korean tacos loaded with kimchi and bulgogi, right?
Bulgogi, yes. So that's I know he is, yes.
So did Choi energize LA's Mexican and other brown populations to energize Mexican Chicano food?
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I give Roy Choi from Kogi Food Truck, I give him a lot of credit. He did change the whole dynamics of the food truck industry. He really did. I got to give him that. I'll give him an applaud for that, because he took Korean food, mashed it with Mexican food with tortillas and a bunch of other stuff. And this is something different. Yeah, you had different flavors, you had different stuff, you had this, but this guy really, really changed it up. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that can want to take credit for this and take credit for that. But I think Roy Choi was one of the first, or actually the first guy that went out there and did something different and made his name out there. He really made his name amongst the Chicano community, the Latin community, everywhere. He really changed it up, and people were waiting for something different. They wanted to try something different, and this was different. And but just like anything else, he started doing this, and it got really popular, and a lot of people followed his lead and started kind of reenacting or making their own kind of fusions and stuff. But he's honestly, in my books, he's the guy that really did put it on the map. Food trucks, like I said, have always been here. He just changed it up a little bit.
So in his book Chicano Eats, which we're about to show the cover, Esteban Castillo, he quotes, I'm quoting, this is the last author I'm quoting. He said, inspired by trips to Colima in Mexico, the complete absence of any authentic Chicano and Mexican food. Again, the first times that I'm seeing and kind of written in the Chicano and Mexican food anywhere in very, very Northern California, not to mention no place at all where you find recipes where you grew up. I initially created, and this is again Esteban Castillo, my blog Chicano Eats, as a way of documenting recipes, sharing favorite stories, and showcasing perspective and a heritage. But it's interesting. He says that he wrote his book Chicano Eats for the Chicano Experience through my Chicano Experience. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with you as you're going to San Bernardino in the 909, and as you're going to the Alameda, as you're promoting Hecho en Mexico, as you're promoting these different food trucks. You seem to be getting at an experience. What is that Chicano experience that's coming out now through food that previous generations had not experienced?
It goes back. Okay, so I want to go back in years ago. Let's go back maybe 20, 30 years. The traditional Mexican food was just traditional. Abuelita's recipe, whoever, tías. It was a traditional, like you said, from Chihuahua, from DF. Everybody has their own little style of doing stuff. As the population, not the population, but a couple years back, more of the population, the food trucks started coming out. They just started changing things around and started adding a little bit of stuff that we have here. It really has changed through, I don't want to say too many years. I want to say maybe like the last 10, 15 years, it's really, really changed. But as far as my experiences go, you got second, third, fourth generations Chicanos being born, here in Los Angeles, and they're kind of, following up on their father, their mothers, and what they did. They're not traditionally going back at their grandmother's recipe, but what their dad created, and it's just evolving. Every generation is evolving. So I've noticed, they're making these burritos with the the California burrito, with with French fries and guacamole and all this other stuff. Like, we didn't have that back in the day. So now these are great burritos that everybody's trying now, and they're doing all these other things. They're putting potato chips. They're doing what are they called? The Cheetos, the hot Cheetos. I mean, who would ever thought of that? So I see every time I go to a food truck or food stand, they have something different. And it goes back to, like I said, the traditional grandmother, grandfather's recipe, whatnot. But now with the third, fourth generation being born here in Los Angeles, they're just throwing their own little twist on it. So it's evolving every generation, every new chef that's coming aboard, I think.
But Jimmy,
and that's how I said,
I'm turning, God forbid I say it, 50 next week. And
so
what growing up in the late 70s and 80s, you weren't allowed to say the word Mexican in bringing our food. And in fact, when we brought burritos to school, we were made fun of. Let's be very clear. So this idea of this generation being free to say Mexican food, to say burrito, to say tacos. I mean, I remember having fear in my bones if it wasn't a bologna sandwich, because we would be made fun of. And in fact, you have one restaurant here in LA that it wasn't called Mexican food. You had to call it Spanish food, right? El Cholo, right? In fact, it was called the Spanish Cafe because Mexican was seen as low brow, right? And this is the amazing thing, is that from you not being allowed to say Mexican to a state that went from English only in the late 90s to Mexican food being very popular, something is occurring here, that an explosion of Mexican identity, or what are you seeing out there?
Now what I'm seeing. Okay, so we're still young. I'm 51. So I was a teenager in the 80s. And as you mentioned that, I went to an all Anglo school in Brentwood. I was bused out of City Terrace, East LA to Brentwood. I'm not going to mention the school, but I went there for 3 years. And when I got there, I was made fun of. I was bullied by the kids there, the Anglo kids. They were making fun of us because we were Mexican, because we're from East LA, or because we spoke Spanish, and I've got yearbooks. Three yearbooks from every year, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, that says, these were so-called friends of mine that would write, some just vulgar stuff on there. But at the end, it wasn't LOL. It was more of a ha ha ha, just kidding. And I'd be like, yeah, you're kidding. But just going back to that whole thing about you saying, everybody was scared to say, Mexican, and even including myself. When I was in school, I was afraid to use the word Mexicano because they would look down upon us. And this is in the 80s. I mean, this is not long ago. And so I think now the generations are more proud of their heritage. I've always been proud of my heritage. I've never been ashamed to who I am or where my family's from. And I speak Spanish, and I love speaking Spanish. And I know a lot of friends that don't speak Spanish because they're like, no, I don't speak Spanish. Yes, you do. You prefer not to. Whenever I get a chance to speak Spanish, I speak it, and I speak it with a passion. I love to speak Spanish. But I think that our heritage has become more and more, I want to say, I'm not going to say I hate the word, but it's become cooler through the years, from all these movies that have come out and depict us like American Me, Blood In, Blood Out, and so yeah, people from all over the world love that movie. I just met an Italian guy a couple weeks ago at one of the night markets, and he was telling me how I just met him just recently, and he's from Italy. He had just flown in from Italy, and he's got a bunch of tattoos, and he was showing me his tattoos, and they're all Chicano tattoos. And then he picked up his shirt. He has one on the side of his ribcage that says Chicano. And I said, wow, what? He says, I love the Chicano culture. I love the Mexican culture. I love this. So I think not just the movies, but, Danny Trejo, for example, made it cool to be Chicano, to be Mexicano. So I think the newer generation are embracing it more than we were doing it back then. And the word Chicano, the word Mexicano has become cool again. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, it does. And what, being in academia as well, it seems like a lot of Mexican Americans in academia don't want to say Chicano because it offends some of them, right? They prefer these other terms, right? But on the street, I hear Mexicano, Mexican, Chicano, or Salvadoran, Nicaraguan, Peruvian, Colombian. We're not afraid, right? So, and that's one thing that I know that they observe, that you're not afraid of it. So,
No.
but what one of the things that in terms of our supply, right? So in LA, we have a lot of ingredients. We have a lot. What's happening with the Chicano food scene in El Paso or Tucson or Northern California? Is there a different food scene that is developing among Chicanos?
You know what? There's a separation amongst us Chicanos. You know, from Texas to Northern California to everywhere. There's a separation. Everybody wants their own little fame. You know, you know, it's funny. Us as Chicanos, we fight against us as Chicanos. We fight against our Chicano community. You know, we fight against the Northerners. Oh, you're the Northerners. You're the Southsiders, or you're the Texas and this and that. You know, everybody has like, you know, you got New Mexico that has the hatch chili. Oh, we make the best burritos. We make the best salsas. And you got the Californians. Well, we got these ingredients, and then you got the northern. Oh, we got this, we got that. Instead of coming together, so but yeah, you do. You know, Texas has got Tex-Mex. You know, and personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I really am not. But there's a lot of people that love it, and so you get the you know, the people out in Texas fighting against the California. You know, the people, the Chicano, the California saying, well, we got better salsas and we got better ingredients and we got. And it's like, no, we're all Chicanos. We should unite and bring each other up instead of bringing each other down. And that's what kind of bothers me, you know. And so yeah, there's a lot of people saying that we have the best food, they have the best food, and it's not about that. I think that all us as a community, we all have great food, and we should just, you know, learn to accept each other's not culture. I'm sorry, accept each other's
Diversity.
fusion. Yeah, diversity and fusion. You know, Chicano fusion is Chicano fusion. That goes all over. All what's the word? It just goes all over. I mean, Texas, Northern, you know, Miami, you know, you got Miami, you got Mexicanos, Chicanos in Miami, and they're doing, oh, we're better than California. Well, so everybody has their own style.
But so I think what you're saying is that Chicano food is diverse from Texas from
yes,
the
sir.
Southwest to outside of the Southwest to people stuff that are creating stuff. But is what you're saying? So do you have within that food scene that some people are actually, do they get angry at each other or they don't, or they literally, because I've been to New Mexico and I think it's great food. I never thought in my mind to say their Mexican American Chicano food is better than mine or mine is better than them. I just thought it's different. Hey, it's good. Right? So you're seeing some folks being a little negative.
Yes. So after being on TikTok,
and I'm not being naive, by the way.
No.
It's a little surprising and disappointing because this is about our Chicano diversity. Sorry.
You know, no, it's fine. It's fine. The question is a great question because after being on TikTok and social media, you get a lot of people from other states, from New York, from, you know, from other parts of the states, even some other parts of the world that say, oh, that food's terrible, or I wouldn't eat that food. And you see some of these comments, and some of these comments are negative, and you're looking at them like, okay, I guess, well, you might not like it, but a million others of us like it. You know, so you get a lot of negativity comments. You know, everybody wants to be the best of the best. You know, you got, you know, New York, you got Chicago, you got all these places, and there's a bunch of Chicanos in different parts of the states, but everybody wants to be on top. They want to be number one. California, Los Angeles, you know, it's the mecca of tacos. You know, we're the mecca. We're the closest to the Mexico. You know, and we were at one point we were Mexico, and that's what a lot of people don't know. You know, we were Mexico, and so we have, not going to say the best food, but we have one of the best foods in the world. I would say, because we're a melting pot here in Los Angeles, so we bring everybody together. And through marriage and through, you know, through pregnancy, through, you know, kids being brought into this world, everybody has their own things. So there's a lot of negativity out there, and I choose to ignore it. I look at the comments on TikTok, Instagram, and I giggle at some of them. Some of them really get me upset, but I don't comment on them. I bite my tongue, and I'm like, ugh.
So what most people don't realize is outside of Mexico City, LA has the second largest Mexican city. Then it's Guadalajara. You know that.
Yes.
You know. So let's talk about the non-Chicano vendors. You know, how is the foodie world with the Salvadoran community, Cuban community? How are non-Chicano, non-Mexican vendors? How is that relationship happening?
As far as, you mean relationship with the community, or?
Yeah, so you know, I went to the Alameda night market, right? So I saw arepas. I saw Salvadoran food. I mean, it's predominantly Mexican, but I'm seeing other non-Mexican, non-Chicano foods. How is that relationship?
You know what, the relationship is really good. I'm glad you asked that question. So when I moved to Miami, I remember being at the Miami Youth Fair. It was a beautiful, beautiful fair right there at the University of Miami, not the University, FYU. And it was on the grounds, so it was a beautiful, beautiful fair. It was just so much food. I remember walking with my brother-in-law, and he asked me, he goes, "Hey man, you want to get some arepas?" And I remember looking at him, going, "What are those?" He's like, "What do you mean you don't know what arepas are?" I said, "I never heard of them. What is it?" He says, "It's Colombian food, blah blah blah." He kind of mentioned to me. I'm like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I've never had it. I tried it, and I was like, "Wow, okay, this is good. This is different." So I've had lomo saltado in Miami. I had a whole bunch of different ropa vieja. I had what was it? A Cuban dish which is called vaca frita, which I never had before. It was mind blowing. It was so good that when I got back here, I was looking for the food and I couldn't find it. But a lot of these markets are bringing in arepas, or bringing in salvadoreño, Guatemala food, different foods from all over the world, and I'm embracing it because I want to try it. You know, and the community has come together and really embraced it. I mean, some of these Central America, South American food have lines because we're not accustomed to that. We're used to the Mexican food and the Mexican culture, the Chinese food and Korean food, but we're not really aware of like Guatemalan food, different foods from different parts of the world. So yeah, so arepas and all that stuff, I embrace it. I'm totally for it, and I think there's a market for every food all over the world. There is a market here in Los Angeles for it.
Well, what's interesting, and I've observed it over decades, is that both things can happen at the same time. You have the
Right.
development of a Chicano food scene, and you have a development of these different other brown community foods from the Caribbean, from Central America to South American, and it's kind of folks sometimes want to say, oh, if you're going to have one, the other can exist, and I'm not, and this conversation is about being positive and sending messages to those listening to us that these different worlds can coexist quite happily. All you have to have is a positive attitude.
Right, right. No, it's true. I mean, you have all these, like I said, all these vendors. One of my favorite night markets is Avenue 26 on Imperial. It's off of Santa Fe and 15th Street. So they try to bring in foods from all over, and I see the unity. And I'm going to say something about this night market. This is what you call unity in the community, because all the vendors, they all get along. Everybody walking there, they're bartering food with other vendors, and it's a great experience. I mean, if you ever go down to Avenue 26 on Imperial, the the unity there is just beautiful. It's a great thing, and every, like I said, they're bartering food, and you're trying different foods from all over, and it's an embracing community there. I enjoy it. I like it, and it's really beautiful. Yeah.
What's interesting is that a lot of, and I teach a class called social institutions in the Chicano community, and a lot of folks will say, our LA Mexican, Chicano, Latino communities don't have some of the institutions that a lot of other communities have, right? But the food and I encourage people to look at food and the conversations that occur around food, which is the point of this conversation,
Right.
as being one of those institutions that has carried us through the colonial period. So if you may have done what, in terms of colonial powers, what you have done to us, but if you look at our food has survived. And I always tell my daughters, when we make tamales as a family, that
Nice. Yes.
the creation of looking at food as an institution of teaching, learning, doing, it incorporates everything. So among our greatest institutions, I would say food is our greatest institution. What's your thought?
I honestly, it is. In the Chicano community, when we throw a barbecue, we bring the whole neighborhood. We bring in neighbors we don't even talk to. And what do? We sit down and we have a couple drinks. We have some tacos. We have some, quesadillas, or frijoles, arroz, and some pollo. And it brings people together. Our food has the Latino Mexicano food has gone. Chicano food has generations and generations. It's gotten better and better and better through the years, and it brings people together. It unites people. You could be mad at your neighbor, or be mad at somebody in your family, but as soon as they show up and there's some carne asada on the grill, everybody's happy. And it's brought us together. Food is the it could stop. I mean, it's a unity. It brings people together, and as soon as you break bread and you open up that cold cerveza or that tequila or whatever you want, that cold horchata your tia made or whatever, it brings people together, and it's a beautiful thing. You know, I love to barbecue. When I do, I love to invite people. It's what I do.
And we're gonna show the video of that we did in front of, what was the food truck that we did your video with the other day?
Oh, that truck is called El Buchon. I like using the bush because my
From
family's
Chihuahua.
From Chihuahua. I like joking around with that because growing. I'll just say this real fast. Growing up, my mom would always say, "Jimmy, pues la muchachas and she," and I was like, man, I thought she had a lisp. You know, I thought she had some type of thing, but that's what she said. And so now I'm starting to embrace it. You know, so when I did the video, I said El Buchon VIP. So it's called El Buchon VIP LA. So they have one in Tijuana and one in El DF. So that's a birria truck, and it was a really good truck. It's really good food. I love their birria. Birria de res.
What's interesting about that show, and we'll get into family right now, is that your wife couldn't make it. A Chicano Foodie girl couldn't make it, and my wife and Fernando's about to put up a video was videotaping us.
Yeah, she did really good, actually. She did very good. I know she doesn't have any social media, so I couldn't put her Instagram handle or anything like that. So I just, thank you guys for that. She did a really good job, though, actually. So I appreciate that.
But what's interesting, and thank you, and is that you say that your wife goes with you.
Yes.
To some of, and I'm also a social worker by training, right? So anything that builds family. Right. So one thing that I think that I've noticed even from our conversations is that your experience in social media has helped build your family. I mean, your wife coming with you. It's not just Jimmy out there by himself, right? So how has this process of being involved with food, how has it been part of your family?
So me and my wife, we started going out and videotaping. So I needed a camera girl. she takes great videos and she takes great pictures. So she started going out. We started going out together and doing it. So I wanted her to get her her own identity, her own Instagram and stuff. She had an Instagram, but it was just a regular Instagram. And I just we went on. She says, you know what, I'm gonna create my own, and she's doing really well with it. And it's great because now we're going places and people are coming up to her and saying, hey, I love your page, I follow you, and it's a great feeling. So it's really changed our family. Now we go places and people recognize us, people come up, they've taken pictures with us, and we look at each other like, okay, that's cool, I guess. I mean, we're so humbled by it. It's not something that it's gone to our heads or no, we're humbled and honored by it. So it really has changed our lifestyle. We get invited to a lot of places. She gets invited, and so of course I go with her. I'm her support, she's my support. We support each other, and at the end of the day, we're laughing and we're having a good time, and we get home and we're talking about our day, and it's really brought out the best in us. I want to say. I mean, we laugh a lot. We're living our best lives right now. I want to say we're living our best lives. We really are at our age. So it's fun.
So in terms of the next Chicano foodie scene, is it what do you see developments in some of the food scene? Is it more indigenous food? Is it more fusion with other cultures? What do you see out there that isn't popping up right now, or that is popping up a little?
Okay, so you mentioned indigenous food. I've never really had indigenous food, but I think that's something that somebody should really bring and showcase it, because it's food that the culture, not the culture, but the population would eat. I mean, I was at one of the fairs in Tallahassee, and I had a Navajo taco, and I've never had that before, and it was good. It was different, and I thought, hey man, you guys should maybe you guys should do some. It was the taco was big. It was kind of a big taco. It was a Navajo taco, and it came in with different ingredients from the Navajo community. But I thought it was great, and I've never had that before. So I told them, why don't you guys do that? They're like, no, it's too much work. We're doing this, we're doing that. So, but this is different. I think that more original, not original cultures, but more cultures should bring out some really authentic old style foods. But as far as the fusion goes, the fusion's not going to stop. It's going to continue. It's going to continue to grow, and they're just going to continue bringing out some new stuff and adding some stuff. It's funny though. I was showing a video to one of my coworkers today. I was over at this one place called Te Quiero Mucho. It's a really cool taco spot over at Boulevard Markets in Montebello. And right next door to Te Quiero Mucho, there's a Nola, which is a Cajun cuisine. Mm. So what I did was I grabbed my taco, and I got a video on TikTok and Instagram. I grabbed some of the gumbo and I put it on top of my taco with the shrimp and everything. And I go like this to my wife because she's got the camera, and I'm like, check this out. I'm going to try this. I've never had this. When I take a bite of that, you'll see my eyes really open up. Like, wow, my expression is real. It's not, I acted out like, oh, this is great. No, if you look at my eyes really open up like, oh man, this is crazy. So I think there's going to be fusions. It's going to be nonstop fusions. I don't know what else they can create, because I think a lot of stuff has been created, but you never know. You never know what this crazy world, we might come up with something new, something different, but there's always something popping up that nobody's heard about or seen. And same here. I look at stuff and I'm like, what the hell did they just make? I got to try it. You know what I mean? So I learned stuff on social media. I don't know everything. I wish I did, but I've learned a lot of stuff on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and YouTube. So it's going to continue. It's going to continue to roll.
So, a final question before it goes to you for some final thoughts. But if you were looking at our conversation in 50 years, right? Let's say 50 years from now, right?
Okay.
I'll be 99. What would you tell generations about Chicanos regarding food and family? Talking to the future.
Talking to the future, talking to the past, right? Or to the future. No, I'm sorry. Talking to the future. Yeah, I would just tell him, I've always had this word. I just love using it. Keep it funky. Just make stuff that doesn't make sense. I would tell them that the Chicano fusion back in the 2000s was great and stuff, but as generations progress, the things will change. And I would just tell them, keep it funky, mix stuff up. If it doesn't make sense, give it a shot, try it. So I don't know if that makes sense or anything, but always just mix things up and make something different. And the conversation we had today, as 50 years down the road, I would just tell them, the fusion that we had back then, you guys changed it up a whole bunch, different stuff, but keep it funky. That would be my final words, is keep it funky, I guess. Change it up.
Is there anything else that you would like to tell your viewers, because you only have a few seconds when you're on TikTok, right? So what are any final thoughts for viewers and other social food influencers that you would like to tell them that might influence in a positive way what they're doing on TikTok?
There's a lot of people I speak to, and I love speaking to people, and people ask me how did me and my wife get into this? What motivated us to do this? Just recently, I was on a podcast. Not a podcast. I was interviewed by Elizabeth Vargas from CNN/2020. She's got a new show called iCrime. So I was talking to her producers in New York, and they were asking me, how did this come about? And and I said, it was just something to help others and to showcase what we do. What I like to tell people is, if you have a goal, if you have an idea, if you have a dream, go for it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to do it. Just go out and do it. Go out and grab it. I have a huge resume, and I wasn't afraid. I'm a go-getter. I'm not afraid of change. I'm not afraid to take chances. And that's something that people need to do, is take chances. I wish I was in my 20s doing this, but I'm in my 50s and I'm doing it. And it's great, because it's never too late to do something. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, if you have a vision, go for it. Don't be afraid. And stay positive, stay humble. Do not think you're bigger and better than anybody else, because at the end of the day, we're eye to eye with everybody. Be kind to people out on the streets. Talk to everybody. One final thought. When you talk to somebody in a crowd, you never know who's in that crowd. So be very careful what you say. Stay positive. Be humble. Be kind to one another. And my favorite thing to say is to people is that, people I haven't seen or I haven't talked to, I love you, man. I really do. Gabriel, I love you, brother. You know what I mean? I honestly do. We met not too long ago, and you're an awesome dude, man. I can see our friendship, flourishing, progressing, and stuff. And this is what makes the world go round: is friends and good people.
Jimmy, Jimmy Saucez coming to us from City Terrace.
That's right, City Terrace.
Yo, Jimmy Sauce.
That's yo. What it do, party people? Jimmy Saucez is going to end the broadcast right now. But Gabriel, thank you for having me. I mean, this is an honor. It really is. I had a great time and great conversation. We got to do this again.
All right. Follow Jimmy on TikTok, on Instagram. Forward this video to everyone. Put a comment on it. Put a question. We'll answer it in another format that we have. Be kind, everyone. Be nice to everyone. Be open to everything. Hug everyone. Don't be negative. We don't need it in our community. It's not helpful. So the next time, everyone, BuelnaNews, we're out.